Imagine waking up tomorrow and coffee no longer exists. No Starbucks, no espresso, no iced coffee, no coffee makers humming in kitchens before sunrise. For billions of people, the morning routine would look completely different. Some people would be annoyed, others would feel exhausted. Entire industries would have to adapt overnight. But why? How did a small bean from East Africa become one of the most traded products on Earth? Hi, I'm Atlas, and welcome to the Atlas Guide. Today, we're uncovering how coffee went from a little-known plant to one of the most popular drinks on Earth. To answer that question, we need to go back more than 1,000 years to the highlands of Ethiopia. According to legend, a goat herder named Kaldi noticed something strange about his animals. After eating bright red berries from a certain plant, the goats became unusually energetic. Instead of settling down for the night, they stayed active and alert. Curious, Kaldi reportedly brought the berries to a local monastery. The monks experimented with them and discovered that they helped them stay awake during long hours of prayer. Whether this story is true or not, historians agree that coffee's origins can be traced to East Africa. What began as a local plant would eventually transform the world. But there was one problem. Coffee wasn't actually a bean, at least not at first. The coffee bean is really the seed found inside a fruit known as a coffee cherry. Early users often consumed the fruit in different ways long before brewing coffee became common. Over time, people discovered that roasting the seeds created entirely new flavors and aromas. That discovery changed everything. By the 15th century, coffee cultivation had spread across the Red Sea into Yemen. Here, coffee began its transformation from a regional curiosity into a global phenomenon. Farmers cultivated coffee on a larger scale. Merchants traded it across growing networks. And cities throughout the Islamic world embraced the drink. Coffee houses began appearing in major urban centers. These weren't just places to drink coffee. They became gathering spots where people discussed politics, religion, business, and science. In some ways, they were the social media platforms of their era. Not everyone was happy about this. Authorities occasionally viewed coffee houses with suspicion. Large groups of people gathering to exchange ideas have often made governments nervous. In several places, attempts were made to restrict or ban coffee. None of them lasted. Coffee was simply too popular. Eventually, coffee reached Europe. At first, many Europeans weren't sure what to think. Some viewed the unfamiliar drink with suspicion. Others quickly became fans. Once coffee houses appeared, demand exploded. Cities like London, Paris, and Vienna saw coffee houses open by the hundreds. People gathered to exchange ideas, negotiate deals, and discuss current events. Some coffee houses became associated with merchants. Others attracted writers, scientists, or politicians. Important conversations that helped shape modern society often happened over a cup of coffee. Coffee also arrived at a perfect moment. For centuries, many people regularly drank beer or wine throughout the day because local water supplies weren't always safe. Coffee offered a different experience. Instead of making people relaxed or intoxicated, it helped them feel alert. As cities grew and economies became more complex, alert workers became increasingly valuable. Coffee fit perfectly into a rapidly changing world. But coffee's growing popularity created another challenge. Everyone wanted it. Yet coffee plants only grew in certain climates. European powers began transporting coffee plants across the globe. New plantations appeared in Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and South America. Entire colonial economies became tied to coffee production. Over time, Brazil emerged as one of the world's largest coffee producers. Massive farms supplied growing international demand. By this point, coffee had become a truly global commodity. But coffee's journey around the world wasn't always peaceful. As demand increased, countries competed fiercely to control coffee production. For a time, Yemen guarded its coffee plants closely. Merchants often exported roasted beans or boiled seeds to prevent others from growing their own crops. But eventually, coffee plants were smuggled out. Once that happened, coffee cultivation spread rapidly across multiple continents. Different regions developed different growing conditions. Altitude, rainfall, soil quality, and temperature all influenced the flavor of the final product. Today, coffee grown in Ethiopia can taste remarkably different from coffee grown in Brazil or Colombia. The same species of plant can produce entirely different experiences depending on where it grows. This is one reason coffee enthusiasts often talk about flavor notes such as chocolate, fruit, nuts, or caramel. They're not adding those flavors. They're identifying characteristics that developed naturally during growth, processing, and roasting. But what exactly makes coffee so powerful? The answer isn't the coffee itself. It's a chemical called caffeine. Throughout the day, your brain accumulates a molecule called adenosine. Think of adenosine as your body's fatigue signal. The more adenosine builds up, the sleepier you feel. Caffeine has a clever trick. It blocks the receptors that adenosine normally uses. Your brain still contains the fatigue signals. You just can't detect them as effectively. That's why coffee doesn't actually create energy. It temporarily disguises your tiredness. This also explains why regular coffee drinkers develop tolerance. Over time, the brain adapts. The same amount of caffeine produces a smaller effect. That's why some people can feel energized from a single cup, while others need several. Coffee has become so important that many people structure parts of their day around it. Morning coffee before work, a refill during lunch, an afternoon cup to push through the final hours of the day. Entire routines have formed around a beverage that was once unknown outside a small region of Africa. Few products have managed to spread so thoroughly across so many cultures. Today, coffee is one of the most consumed beverages on Earth. Millions of farmers grow it. Millions more transport, roast, package, and sell it. Entire companies have been built around serving coffee. Some people enjoy elaborate espresso drinks. Others prefer a simple black cup. But regardless of how it's prepared, coffee has become deeply woven into daily life. And that's what makes coffee so remarkable. It started as a plant growing in a specific corner of East Africa. Through trade, exploration, agriculture, science, and culture, it spread across the planet. It changed how people worked. It influenced how people socialized. It helped fuel businesses, conversations, and entire economies. All because of a small seed hidden inside a red fruit. The next time you take a sip of coffee, remember that you're not just drinking a beverage. You're participating in a story that has been unfolding for centuries. A story that began with a simple question. What happens when humans discover something that helps them stay awake? As it turns out, the answer is quite a lot. And now you know the story behind one of the most influential drinks ever created. This has been the Atlas Guide. I'm Atlas, and I'll see you in the next one.